Thank you very much for the invitation. My name is Mario. I am originally from Vienna, raised and born and educated here, and then I left and have since lived in the Silicon Valley, the San Francisco Bay Area, where I worked for a long time for SAP, and now doing technology research. And I wanted to go a little bit into artificial intelligence, do a deep dive into what means human intelligence and artificial intelligence. So let's take a look at the presentation. I'm going through three things. What is AI? Give you some examples, and then we take a look into the future. So let's get started. So first, machine learning. What is what is intelligence? And that's a difficult word to define. And each time we think we understood it, we just change the definition. And Alan Turing, a mathematician back then in Bletchley Park who cracked the enigma, he tried to define when a machine is really intelligent. And back then there was a party game that in the 40s that was very popular, that was called the Imitation Game. Maybe you've seen the movie with the same name with Benedict Cumberbatch, yeah, it's a very good movie. And the party game worked like this. At a party, you locked a man into one room and a woman into another room. And the party guests were communicating with those two people without knowing where's the man, where's the woman, through written papers that they slid under the door. If the man was able to pretend that he is the woman and convince the party guests, the man won. If the woman convinced them that she is the real woman, then the party guests won. So, and he said, what about defining intelligence in a way that if a machine can basically trick a human into believing that she is a human, the machine, then she won. And that is called the Turing test. Now, there are two problems with that. First, humans have to do basically subjective judging on that. That's never good. And the second one is, we're basically teaching machines to trick us, to cheat on us, to lie on us, and that's also not what we want. So a better definition was, what about a machine, when a machine beats the world champion in chess, then this machine must be certainly intelligent, right? Well, 1997, Garry Kasparov lost against Deep Blue. The machine was more intelligent than the chess world champion. Did we say now the machine is not intelligent? Of course not. We raised the benchmark. Yeah, we said, no, this is just brute force calculation that this computer does. They can calculate millions of moves in seconds. A human is just overpowered. But there is a game where you can't just use brute force, where you have to do other things because there are so many permutations that you have more permutations than you have atoms in the universe. And that game was Go. So if a machine beats the Go world champion, then this machine is certainly intelligent. Well, 2016, AlphaGo, a machine by DeepMind, which belongs to Google, beat the world champion in Go 4-1. And not just anyhow, there were some certain moves in there, namely in the second game, the 37th move, where everyone was shocked because everyone thought the machine has now made a colossal mistake. But it turned out the 37th move was the winning move. And people called it, wow, the machine really showed intuition. Yeah? And now we're talking about intuition suddenly. Now, did we say the machine is intelligent? No, of course not, because we know that it was just statistics, matrix calculation that we had there. Yeah? So it's always, each time the machine reaches a certain benchmark, we raise the benchmark. So Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, he came up with a different definition. And he said, a machine is then intelligent when I can tell her, go into the next house and make a coffee for me. There are a lot of problems that this machine has to solve. First, it has to recognize what's a house. It has to get to the door, recognize the door, be able to open the door. It could be a handle, it could be just a turn knob, it could be just a badge that you use. It has to find the kitchen, it has to find the coffee machine, the coffee maker, and this could be an espresso machine, with capsules. This could be a filter machine. This could be something where you have to mill the coffee first. Then you have to find the milk, figure out where's the milk in the fridge. figure out the milk is still good, or is it already done? And then serve it on a tray, make your coffee, put it there, and serve it in a very impolite way, rude way, like a Viennese Ober does. Then the machine is intelligent, because so many problems were solved that the machine must be intelligent. I, as a Viennese who loves coffee and sitting in coffee houses, I certainly can live with that definition of intelligence. Now, let's take a look at how artificial intelligence, the way we know it today with machine learning and neural nets, is working. So you all know the game in German, Stille Post, or Chinese whispers in English, or le téléphone arabe in French. Yeah, you see already some racist definitions of this game, but you know that. Yeah? 10 kids are standing in a row. First kid whispers something in the ear of the second child. Child giggles, whispers the word to the next one, and this goes in a chain. And then the last kid, the 10th kid, says the word that it heard. And what word is that normally? A very different word from the first one, right? And what is happening exactly? Well, every human in this chain is nothing else than a sensor rack with a processor. Yeah? We see it through our eyes, listen, we imitate it, and we have a computer, our brain basically, and so it makes calculations with the sensor input that it gets. In the end of the day, of course, everyone has a little variations, and over the chain of such a chain, you get a complete different outcome. Now, artificial intelligence and neural net doesn't looks like that. Basically, it's just not like 10 people in a row. It's like hundreds of thousands of those rows, and they're all talking to each other and getting input from each other. And in the end, if you trained it correctly, this neural net, it brings the correct result. And that is what we call also a large language model, ein großes Sprachmodell, so to speak. This is when you hear about GPT-4 yeah, or Claude from Anthropic. This is basically what's behind that. Very complicated. Now, when we look at artificial intelligence, that's a much larger area than just ChatGPT. Yeah? It's a much larger field than that. We will be looking at some examples. Now, when we train such a neural network, we are putting in millions of pages. We are training the neural network, and it creates probability graphs. Basically, out of the many, many sentences and examples that it sees, it can understand how close normally or how often words are used in the context of each other. And for example, the sentence, the cat sits on a table. Table is more likely than maybe tree or windowsill, but it's very unlikely that it sits on an airplane wing or on a steam pipe. Yeah? So it basically completing, that's what such a language model does. And that is GPT-4, it completes a sentence, and ChatGPT not only completes sentences, it leads a conversation by keeping the context. And I can do that also not just with text, but also with everything that's in digital form, like pictures, like audio recordings, like videos, like software code. Software code is nothing else than structured language with construction plans, and I can generate not just text, but also images, audio recordings, videos, software code. Now, I did one, for example, a text prompt for HR Insight. So I asked it, describing 3 sentences what HR Insight is, as if I were a 5-year-old. And it says, HR Insight is like a big, friendly group where people come together to learn how to work best with others. They help companies to make their employees happy and satisfied. It's a little bit as if you train your bosses how to be a good friend in your team, for your team, yeah? Well, for a 5-year-old, it's a great definition, I would say, yeah? And then I ask it, spit it out in French. And then I get the French sentence, the French phrases on that, yeah? HR Insight, c'est comme un grand groupe d'amis où les gens se rassemblent pour apprendre comment bien s'occuper des autres au travail, etc., etc. Now, take a look at it. I said, spit it out. It understands, translate it, yeah? And it understands also it. What is it? It is this here, where's my pointer? Can't see my pointer. Is the sentence before, these 3 phrases before the translate, not my question before. So you see, it keeps the context, it understands the context. Here's a text prompt for Vikings. So a group of male Norse, Dane, and Vikings huddled together in a group selfie, taking a selfie picture in 1793. And we get this picture of a dashing, handsome young man sitting together, having a great time. And because of the probability, each time I enter that prompt, the text that I see here, I get a different image. That's based on probabilities. Now that Barack Obama and Angela Merkel are not active anymore as politicians, they have more time for each other. Yeah. So I got some of their private pictures from the last beach vacation that they had. So they really had some great time with each other. Yeah. Eating ice cream together, building sand castles, collecting shells, and just liking each other a lot. Now you realize these are fake pictures, right? Yeah, so this is AI, this is what artificial intelligence can do. But if this is not Barack Obama or Angela Merkel, but somebody unknown, you would believe, oh my God, that's a real picture. How did that happen? Yeah? So we have to be careful of whom to trust and look at it. We can also do not just text prompts, but we can also do multimodal prompts. I can put in multiple different things and create out of a video text or pictures or audio recordings. And I'll show you an example. I went ahead and took a picture of my fridge, put it onto ChatGPT and said, okay, based on what you see in my fridge, suggest 3 breakfast meals that I could have. Please don't judge my content of the fridge. The Coke is all from my wife. It's not me. I'm not drinking it. And so it comes out with multiple suggestions for breakfast based on what it sees in my fridge. That's a multimodal prompt. Now, that's about AI functionality. Let's go with some examples. Let's dive deeper. So here, the girl with the pearl earrings, with a little variation, as we can see, right? Here is a guy, Stealthy, the time traveler, who basically generates himself into historic events like boxing against Muhammad Ali, Trojan horse, asteroid that killed basically the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. Here is discussing which all stuff in evolutionary theory. Here's on a raid with Vikings. Here he is shaving Salvador Dali. He finally found Bigfoot, this mythic beast in North America, and here he catches the apple that Newton looked at, observed, and developed his gravity theory. Now, what can we else do? Take a look at HR. So here is a recruiter application that helps you to basically create a job description in a questionnaire way, where you go in there and tell the system what it wants. That's one of the things that's interesting in this area. Another one is applications that learn XYZ are applications that help you to make learning content, HR content more engaging by using this in an app. So this is about HR. AI in a different space, mobility. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we have already robotaxi fleets driving around with cars that are moving, autonomous vehicles, no drivers in there. Here we have still prototypes. These are already older video recordings. You see here the variety. We had about 70 companies that were testing autonomous vehicles, AI-controlled vehicles on public roads. These are the current vehicles, for example, robotaxis that we have. And you see here, one of those vehicles has about $250,000 of worth. There are sensors on there, like cameras, like radar, LiDARs, laser detection systems. And so this is the Waymo depot. Waymo is a Google company in San Francisco. These are about several $100 million that we see in worth of cars. Different types of vehicles that we have here. And here, a view now from inside. So I've done about 200 rides in driverless vehicles in San Francisco. The traffic is normally very crazy. And the first minute or so, your heart is racing. You're thinking, you're questioning your choices. Yeah, you're thinking, did I say goodbye to my loved ones? And after a minute, it feels very normal. So at the moment, when we have tourists, and they're looking at those cars, there's nobody sitting behind the wheel. In 10 years, people will be, there's somebody sitting behind the wheel. what are they gonna do? Yeah, so not always there's nobody sitting behind the wheels. At Halloween we had scarecrows and things like that sitting behind the wheels. Here's an example of police stopping a self-driving car. Police officer gets out.
Ain't nobody in it.
Papers, driver's license. Did you drink something? Yeah, there's nobody in there. Oh fuck, what's going on? Yeah. Well, and the car takes off. Streets of San Francisco, car chases everywhere, right? So, in fact, police officers, emergency responders are trained on these vehicles, and they stop this vehicle because it did not have its headlights on. And normally there's a certain protocol so that the police officer is trained on that and can do that. Now the car moved to a different position because that's safer to stop. That's why it moved over, and now you can follow the protocol. So that's what we have already today. Some challenges that we have with AI is it has hallucinations, not a six-pack, but the 8-pack or 10-pack, yeah? Well, you're superhuman in this case, yeah? Or a lawyer who used ChatGPT in his case and then figured out that all the links to former cases were just hallucinated, they didn't exist. Yeah, or if you do a job interview,
其实有
the
些人
small
说，哎，
picture
这
is the
个
person how it looks in
直播
reality,
换脸它的效
and the
果不
big
是很好。我
picture
现在
is the
这个
person,
直播实
the
时录
deep
像，
fake,
那么
live
直播的话，它
basically.
这
So you
个
can't trust whom you
其实
see.
已经
So
是
if you
很完善
job
的，包
interview
括
or
像
do a
网页
Tinder
什么的，
date
它都
here
是一个常
through
规操
Cam,
作。
be
这个
careful.
东西是
This
不会
person
错
may look
项
very
的，
different
包
than
括
it really is. Also, there's what we call bias. So based on the data, we have wrong examples. So for example, in Finnish, apparently there is no gender differentiation in the language, but the translation then brings out, for example, sentences like, she is beautiful, he drives a car, yeah? He reads, she combs her hair, yeah? So basically stereotypes that are here being presented. Also, this goes even deeper because often women are not getting, for example, loans, get rejected with loans more often than men because the data is just biased. Or here, Ronna Wang, an MIT student, she wanted to do basically a more professional LinkedIn picture, ask the system to make a more professional LinkedIn picture, and that is what she got. She has now very pretty blue eyes, but she doesn't look Asian anymore at all. Or here, this politician, she wanted to use a beauty filter. Anyone using a beauty filter? You can admit it, yeah, okay. Yeah, nobody, all liars here. So she used a beauty filter for her campaign, and what we had was then this. Yeah, she didn't only look, was only like 20 years young, yeah? She looked rather exotic and not so bland before, yeah? So people called her out, and she justified her choice of beauty filter by saying, I also do have a right for a beautiful picture, right? And she was not the only one. There were a couple of others who did the same. Now that brings us a little bit to now the future. What's the future? Well, you heard about the Nobel Prizes. 4 Nobel Prizes for physics and chemistry for 4 people were basically AI researchers just this week. So we see AI is in the mainstream. We see new jobs, like prompting becomes a job. So we see already people, companies hiring people who can deal with AI, prompting that correctly. We also see that telemarketers, teachers, lawyers, or traders are basically the most endangered species here because this is all what AI can do. The least endangered are dancers, bricklayers, and sewers, yeah, tailors. And HR specialists, well, they are more the more endangered species, yeah, 26, 41, and 73, as you can see. Now, we see that we have ChatGPT as a single standalone AI. We have autonomous AIs coming, where they are combined with other tools, but then we have also them coming together with machines. And this doesn't happen like with the internet in 25 or 30 years, but in like 2 or 3 years. Yeah, we are already there. Thank you so much.